welcome to another video. It's not as nice of a day this morning, and I'm hiding in my doorway because of that. It's raining outside. It's a bit gloomy out here, but the rain is very much welcome. It's not raining so hard at the moment, but it has been, and I've been hiding inside my house doing a lot of work. So in making my videos, one thing I've noticed standing in this doorway is that my door looks like the door of a serial killer. I'm not a serial killer, I assure you. Or am I? Moving on, I'm going to deal with the door. I'm going to paint it probably soon because it's pretty sketchy looking, and I think little things like painting a door can really have a big impact on how the whole place looks overall. But enough about my door. This video is going to be the first in a series of videos where I go back in time and show you the work I've done so far. I've had my land for, I think, just over a year and a half. I've lived in the property for about a year. I think my anniversary is coming up, actually. And I've been going over old videos. I've been filming since the beginning, and yeah, I've actually done loads of stuff. It's easy to kind of forget how much I've done when I look around and see all the jobs that I still have to do. But going back in time and looking at all those videos that I filmed, yeah, it's a great reminder. So what I did was I opened up my Instagram, I scrolled back right to the beginning of when I had the land, and then I've basically just been making a list of all the stuff I've done and then trying to find video footage of it so I could share it here. I've come up with about 50-ish things that I've done, and I've found video for them, so I'm gonna just blab on about those, share a bit of video so you can kind of see what the place looked like at the beginning, and then do several videos, a little video series that sort of shows the progress from the beginning until now. So before we start, I'm going to give you some pretty pictures of flowers because what I'm about to say maybe some people won't like. Basically, I'm about to sort of put myself out there with showing construction work and lots of work that I've been doing. That's going to totally open me up to criticism, which is completely fair enough. But I just want everyone to know that I am aware that sometimes my safety practices aren't ideal, and that sometimes I do things wrong. I'm learning as I go. And as far as safety goes, I have a whole philosophy on that, which I'll probably put in some other video. But just know that I'm not a reckless person. I do things very slowly and methodically. And there's probably reasons I'm doing things. So, you know, feel free to comment if you like. But just ask yourself if that's the best use of your time, given what I'm sure you can probably guess what my thoughts on your comment will be. So without further ado, I give you some jobs that I did way back at the beginning, and I hope you enjoy the video. Enough of that, enough of flowers, and let's get to the good stuff. So this is the house right at the very beginning. It's, yeah, pretty basic. It's just a stone barn, and let me take you inside. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to save that for a different video. I'm such a dick. I'm sorry. So first up was parking. Basically, the top terrace is where I parked my car. My car is pretty crappy, and I was really nervous about all the topsoil that was there. It was quite squishy, and the summer was fine. I was really nervous about it getting rained on and just becoming super muddy and swampy and trapping my crappy car in amongst all the soil. So my first task, and boy was it ever a task, was to move the soil. I basically wheelbarrowed a huge amount of soil from the top terrace and moved it down to the second terrace. It was a lot of work. It's one of those things, it's like you try to tell people how much work something was, and it was like 5 times as much because nobody would ever actually believe that you did it. But I did, and I have video footage of it. In the end, I don't even know if it was really that necessary, so that's kind of depressing. But, you know, I did it. I made a little car turnaround spot, and, you know, it was very difficult. It was August. It was super hot. But it was an amazing workout. I felt invigorated after each day. It's always amazing to feel super tired after a day of work, and that's how I felt. So now I have a place to park my car. I can pull in, I can turn around, and I can get out. So yep, the parking took probably about at least a month, I think. It was tough, but it was the first job I did, and yeah, it was weirdly rewarding. I suppose it's good to be able to drive your car onto your land with confidence. So that was my first job. And yeah, success. And it's finished. And now I can park. So another job that seems like a small thing, but it turned into kind of a big headache, was drinking water. I basically get my drinking water from a mysterious fountain that flows out of the side of a hill. As with everyone in this area, we all just drink water that comes out of mysterious holes. It's just who we are. So far so good. People aren't dropping dead as far as I can tell. If I'm going to work at my land, I needed a vessel for drinking water that was bigger than my water bottle, I realized. Shoveling the parking out nearly killed me, and having just a couple of small water bottles to hydrate from was not a good idea. So I invested in a stainless steel drinking water holder thing with a tap. And then a job that I had to do was assemble this thing, which basically meant putting the tap in, which was one of these things that should have been really simple, but the tap didn't want to close, so it became kind of a bit of a pain in the arse. Eventually I figured it out, and then I had drinking water, so another job done. A small one, but an important one. Another job that rivals the epic saga of the parking job would have been my French drain, which still isn't fully done. Basically, I had some damp issues along two of the walls in my house. One wall was very obvious. It was really bad, and it was because the soil at the back of the house was just piled up at least a meter high. So the water would run through the soil, and then it would run through the clay that was that was in between the rocks, and then it would go into inside the house, and it would create a damp problem. I think it also would come up from under the ground when it rained. Water would sort of pool, and it would sort of suck up through the concrete floor. So because I already had a floor in there, I couldn't really tear it out and put in a damp-proof membrane and all this kind of stuff. So I had to try to solve the problem from the outside, which meant digging all that soil out. There were giant boulders I had to move. It took, I think, 6 weeks. A normal person would have done it with a digger. I suppose I am not a normal person because I didn't even think of that. I just tackled it with a hoe, a pick, shovel, a wheelbarrow, and a lot of determination. And yeah, finally got it done. So after I dug out the meter of soil, I then had to go down another 40 to 50 centimeters to make a French drain, which is basically sort of a gutter along the side of the house on the ground that goes down about half a meter, and then you put a pipe in with holes in the bottom of it. And so when water accumulates, it sort of goes in the holes in the bottom, and it gets carried out of the pipe and spits out somewhere far away from the house. So I dug, and I dug, and I dug, and I dug some more. And I hoed, and I pickaxed, and I wheelbarrowed, and I dug again, and then I dug some more. Wheelbarrowed, dug. You got the idea. It took a very long time. And I've only actually done 2 sides of the house because those are the ones that I had the problems on. So hopefully the other 2 sides are fine, because I don't like the idea of doing any more French drain. I don't need any more French drain in my life. When that job was done 6 weeks later, I was very happy to see the back of it. Sadly, all of that work just gets filled in. You put the pipe in, you fill the hole up, and, never to be seen again. So on one hand, it's good because I don't know if I really want a reminder of the horrors of the French drain. But on the other hand, it's just like, all that work I did, gone, buried. So yeah, French drain, another job done. That was a mission. And I'm really, really happy it actually did solve my damp problem, because if I would have put that drain in and then had damp after that, I would have just been so sad. Luckily, it's working fine, and and so I don't need to think about a French drain anytime soon, which is great. So another sort of fun job that I had to do on arrival was dismantling. Well, there was some stuff on the inside of the house, just random bits of wood and things that I took down. But the main job was on the outside, on the side of the house, where I had this really dodgy looking structure. The structure, I think, was maybe a lean-to for animals or something, maybe animal feed. I don't really know. But it was built with super sketchy wood. I mean, it probably wasn't built with super sketchy wood, but the wood had become super sketchy. It was sort of half collapsed. The tiles, they're those like old school tiles, and many were broken, very brittle. and it was sort of in a state of collapse. So I basically just brought it down and dismantled it and kept the wood. A lot of the wood was still good. Stacked the tiles. So yeah, taking down that little structure was a small job. Took me about an afternoon, I think. So yeah, it's nice to check those quick jobs off the list in contrast with the French drain and parking situations. So yep, taking down the little structure and storing the wood and the tiles was another task that I did. So when I bought the land, I was staying with my friend, and I was commuting from her house to my house for about 6 months before I actually moved in. But you know, sometimes you come to your house and you know you haven't had your morning poo and you just need a place to crap. So I decided to build that place to crap. And basically here, a lot of people have compost. Humanure. If you've never heard of it, Humanure, take a look at the Humanure handbook. I think it's available for free online, and it will give you all of the wonderful information on how to use human poo on your garden. It sounds pretty gross, but you know, it's not. It's natural. We're nature. Poo is nature. So basically what I did was built a little box where I put a bucket inside the box, and then the idea is you sit on the toilet seat as normal. It feels like a regular toilet. And then poop into the bucket. And then every day or two, you empty that bucket into a larger bucket. And then the larger bucket fills up, which is far away. The larger bucket's far away. Poo bucket in-house, larger poo bucket far away. And then basically that one fills up, you seal it off, and then you let it sit for 2 years. And in that time, inside the bucket, it turns into an amazing compost. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about the wonders of Humanure. One of my jobs that I did as well was just to make a box to sit on to have a crap. Toilet box was my first carpentry adventure, and I really enjoyed it. Weirdly though, I only filmed making the top of it and not making the box itself. For the box, I basically just made a frame that fit the bucket. But actually determining the height of the box, I put a lot of effort into. I trialed it, I sat on it, I measured. I actually even propped the bucket up inside the box a little bit because I wanted it a little bit higher than the bucket itself. So yeah, a lot of weirdness went into the box itself. As for the top, I basically just bought a piece of plywoody type stuff, cut a hole in it, and attached a toilet seat on top of it. I wanted to find a wood toilet seat, which was quite difficult, surprisingly. It was enjoyable. I borrowed my friend's jigsaw. I used that for the first time. I also took the plastic bits off of the part under the lid of the toilet seat, and the reason I did that was so that the toilet seat closed the whole way. It's important to have a seal on this type of a toilet so that you don't get flies going in there. Flies, bad. But the whole process of making the toilet box was really enjoyable. It was my first carpentry task, and yeah, I loved it. I spent way more time on it than I probably should have. I even carved an olive branch to use as the handle for opening and closing the toilet seat. You know, overkill, but that's sort of my MO. I do like to take my time, and I like to make something that's really nice. And I think with the toilet box, not only did I enjoy the process, but I also made something that's functional and looks pretty cool, I think. Another task done off my list. So would you believe that I was going to try to get through half of my list of stuff I've done in a year and a half on my little piece of property? That would have meant 25 jobs. I think I have around 50 total. And I did 5. This video, I did 5. I did my parking. I did my drinking water, toilet box, French drain, and took down that side structure. Sifting through those old videos takes an eternity because though I was really good with filming, I was really bad with actually organizing things. So nothing's in folders, nothing has file names, everything's spread across a whole bunch of hard drives, and basically it's a horrible, hideous mess. So I'm gonna maybe release all that stuff in little dribs and drabs. I'll do 5 at a time over the next little while, just to mix things up a bit. So it'll be, I guess, a video series of the jobs that I've done before I started my YouTube channel to get to the point where I am today. So something to look forward to, I guess. I think my next video will be of me putting the seedlings into pots and putting as much as I can into the garden. Okay, so that's yeah, a little summary of some work that I've done. Just a few jobs, not what I was hoping to show you, but you know, these things take time. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of time travel back to the beginning of when I got my land and a few of the jobs that I did right off the start. Seems like so long ago, but I've enjoyed revisiting those videos and traveling back in time myself, and I've enjoyed sharing it with you. So yeah, next up will be the garden video, I think, and I look forward to showing you that. And thanks for watching. Yeah, and I guess I'll see you in the next video.